the music. We're gonna try to bring it as close as we can. Okay. I titled the video, Shutting Down Scientology with Jenna Miscavige. By the way, we are here out in Dunedin. We're about to go meet up with Clearwater George, and we are gonna destroy all-you-can-eat mussels night over at the Hog Island. Is it Hog Island Grill? I just know it's Hog Island. Okay, but before that, came over here to pregame a little. Okay, here's the inspiration for this video. Without question, Scientology is pretty rapidly getting shut down. Not by the authorities, not by the government, not by the Repo Man, but just it is very rapidly failing as an organization. What, you like Repo Man? You know, the bank coming to repossess property because they're delinquent on their bills and stuff. And very rapidly failing. Mm-hmm. We're seeing stats from orgs that are some of the biggest orgs in the world, quote unquote, and the fact is they're not even solvent. Right. Scientology is not even solvent on an operational level. Right. So Scientology is rapidly shutting down. Mm-hmm. And I would like to think, let me put myself on Do Not Disturb. Sorry guys, I had to put the phone on Do Not Disturb. There's many reasons why it's shutting down. There's many reasons, but for sure one of those reasons is all of the former Scientologists who have told their stories, whether it's in documentaries, whether it's in blogs, whether it's in TV shows, whether it's in videos, right? Mm-hmm. The stories of abuse. What is so funny? What are you laughing at?
I don't know. It's just because you're like saying all these things and I'm like, right, and then you're like, right, and I'm like, yes.
Yes. Okay. Okay. Scientology is getting shut down. It is absolutely in part due to all of the exposure from all the former Scientologists. And yet, when I think about that, I also have a thought of like, yes, that's what's happening. Mm-hmm. Yes, it's almost inevitable. I love that this is so funny. I'm laughing that you think this is so funny. Come on, get in the moment. No, I'm just kidding. It's okay, that's fine. Is even though that's what's happening, even though it's inevitable, even though it's amazing to see it happen, and I'm glad it's happening.
It's also because I'm like this close to you.
We have to. I know we have to. I can't help but also have the thought of like, yes, that's happening, but is that our job? Is that what motivates us? Is that why we're here? Is that the reason to keep going? I feel like I take a lot of joy in seeing Scientology fail for many reasons. Mm-hmm. Mainly because they've destroyed so many families that I feel like, oh man, you've made an enemy out of all of us, and now you have made that bet, and you are gonna get your just rewards or just desserts, whatever the saying is. So I love that it's happening. I love that we're all contributing to it. But then I also, and I don't know, maybe it comes off a little defensive, I almost go, but it's not our job. It's not our job. That shouldn't have to be our job. Right. So we're helping, and then that brings up the question of like, well, why do so many former Scientologists keep speaking out? It's because you had half a glass of wine. No. It's because she had half a glass of wine. This is what happens. Okay, and so then the thumbnail for this video is a picture of your book. Because I wanted to ask you, like, when you wrote your book, were you like, I'm gonna write this book, I'm gonna shut down Scientology? Mm-hmm. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So what's
is that a question?
Well, sort of. It's sort of a question of like, each individual former Scientologist is going to have their own reason why they want to tell their story, or maybe what they hope is going to be accomplished when they tell their story. Mm-hmm. When you told your story in your book, was it motivated by this, I'm going to shut down Scientology, or was it motivated by something else?
Well, I guess like before I wrote my book, I was like, at first, when I first left Scientology, they were still like messing with my family, they were messing with my ex-husband's family, they were trying to like actively get them to disconnect from us, and they were like kind of like talking shit about us, trying to like ruin my job, trying to like build this wedge between us and me in Dallas too. And so at first, when I first spoke out about Scientology, it was because I was pissed off. Like, I was like, no fucking way, this isn't gonna happen anymore. It was kind of like, I'm gonna win. And it was like kind of vengeful, like to start out with.
I like that answer because I feel like it's what motivates me. It's like,
yeah,
I'm like, you tried to mess with me and my family. It's your turn now, homie.
right, yeah, and relentlessly. Like, it was like, I would have walked away. I would have been like, we could have just left and enjoyed our lives, and I could have, had my job. But they like went after us. They were calling Dallas's family, trying to get information. I was getting harassed by his family every day at work. Like, they wouldn't let it go. And it was like, and in the end, they had like tried to keep Dallas just out of spite. Like, they didn't need him. They didn't need to try to mess with us, but they just did it because they're evil and because they didn't want me to win. And that was like, at that time, it was like, that pissed me off. And I was like also 21 too. I had like more like pissed off energy and more like rebellious energy. And so that was like flowing through my veins at all times. And yeah, so I feel like it started off like that. And they were lying like so blatantly. Like I remember the Tom Cruise biography came out, and it had said like Scientology disconnects people from their families and does a bunch of things. Like, it talked briefly about the RPF, which is their reform program, and then Scientology put out this statement that was like, this is not true. We love families. Like, family is the most important thing, and we don't have that. And I was like, oh my God. I was like, they are such liars that I can't even take it. I was like, I can't let this go. Like, this is like I was like, they're disgusting, and they think they can get away with anything. That's the main thing. I was like, they're not just horrible, but they're so arrogant that they think that they can get away with anything. And so I was like, that's it. I'm telling the truth. Like, and I wrote this letter to like a lady in the Office of Special Affairs, which is like sort of the branch of Scientology that does their PR and puts out all their BS lies.
Who was it?
It was Karen Powell.
Okay.
And so I wrote this letter to her, and I was even like, if it's true that Scientology loves families so much, then why can't I talk to my grandfather? I was like, sort of like trying to challenge them. Like, if that's true, then show everybody. Let's have a picture of us together. Let's hang out. And so I was pretty pissed off at that point. In fact, later on, when I've gone back and read that letter, I was like kind of embarrassed, like how pissed off I was. But now I'm not. I've like gone full circle again. So at first it started with that. Then by the time I wrote my book, I was kind of like beaten down by the world.
What?
Well, so that happened in like 2007. By the time I wrote my book, it was 2012.
Okay.
Like, I didn't start speaking out when I wrote my book. 5 years had gone by, and that's a long time when you're 21 to 26 or whatever, however many years it is. And so by that time, I had been like speaking out for a while. I had the Ex-Scientology Kids website, and I had done some like magazine articles and some TV shows and stuff like that. And I think the problem that I had been having at that time was that I would spend hours telling my story, and often it would be like on my paid time off. And in Scientology, there was no paid time off. There's no time off at all. And so I would like use my only paid time off to do these shows. And then I would like spill my heart out for hours, and then like the interviewer would be like crying and be like, oh my God. And then it would come out and it would be like, Tom Cruise, like, or Bono was in Scientology or something like that. And I was like, what the fuck? It's like so annoying. Like, it was like so disheartening. And it was like,
Because Bono was never in Scientology?
no, he did. I think that
Bono
he did like,
Scientology?
well, he like did a service.
He did?
You're doing it.
That's a huge deal.
You're doing it right now.
I got to do a video about this immediately.
Or it was like Brad Pitt did the purification rundown. Anyways, so it was like they would take this one line, something that they asked me, and it was only something that I was like, well, my mom told me that, my dad told me that, my brother told me one time this happened. Like, I was just asking, like answering like an offsides question, and then they would like write the whole article on that. And it just pissed me off so much. Like, I wasted my time. And also, like, because my uncle is the head of Scientology, I felt like I would get more attention than somebody else who had lived their whole life in Scientology and had this terrible experience. And I felt like on some level like I was letting them down. Like, my story maybe would be a little bit of their story. And so this dumb fucking Tom Cruise story that would come out was just like a letdown for everyone. And that like just became a little bit exhausting and disheartening. And so when I got my book deal, it felt like it was a really good opportunity to tell every part of the story. And even if I went on a show or TV, because, you know, for my book tour, I went on a lot of like big TV programs. I was like on The View, I was on Anderson Cooper, I was on like Piers Morgan, and I knew that they would just ask me like a dumb question about Tom Cruise. No offense. But I felt good knowing that my book would then be there if people were made interested by the interview that I had, and the whole story was there. The whole more important thing about what it's like as a kid to grow up in Scientology. And it was that thing of having the whole story from beginning to end. It's nuance. It's not just the separation of families, you know? It's like, you know, growing up as a kid, being separated from your family, not having the education, having to do, I feel like I'm really going on a roll.
No, it's great.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm specifically not interjecting so many things I want to say so that you can keep going.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Anyways, it was just so many things, so many nuances to like, even like not having your mom there when you like start your period, or being away from like your parents from when you're 12 till you're 18, and like the brainwashing, all this stuff. There's so much to it that cannot possibly come out in a short TV program, even more so because of Scientology's psychotic language that like abbreviates and makes acronyms for the most ridiculous things. So it was just a great chance to have the whole story out there, and if it was interesting enough and that people could spend their time with it, and it felt like a big opportunity to finally feel understood and to finally like introduce the parts of Scientology that are really important and that are really destructive and that really, really need to be stopped. And it gave the time to build empathy for the person who is going through this. And then of course there was like a million benefits to me personally, but that's like a whole other thing.
Yeah.
And so that was my motivation for that.
It's interesting that you mentioned the fascination with Tom Cruise, because I do a lot of videos about Tom Cruise on this channel.
Yeah.
And it's because it's what gets people to watch.
Yeah.
And
right.
kind of like you said, if people are going to tune in for the Tom Cruise circus, at least my book will be there about, oh shit, it froze. Hold on. Because I don't know when it froze. Sorry about that. But I said anyway, so I said, you know, if people are going to tune in for the Tom Cruise circus, that's fine. Tune in. I know that's what attracts the eyeballs, but then you're going to hear about how, you know, Scientology is an international human trafficking cult that destroys families.
Right.
You know, if you're going to click on the Tom Cruise title and the Tom Cruise thumbnail, excellent. That whatever brings you to the yard.
That's the recipe, is like, that's what brings you there.
Yeah.
And then once you learn a little bit about it, then you stay for the rest of it.
Yeah.
And that's like, why not use this really important tool?
Yeah.
It's the smartest thing you can do.
Yeah. So do you personally, I mean, I know I do, but I'm asking, do you take like joy and relish in the schadenfreude of seeing Scientology very quickly and overtly fail, despite all of the smoke and mirrors that they put up to make it look like they're still expanding? Like when you see or hear that, you know, Orlando org, one of the only 3 orgs in all of Florida, has like 3 staff members. You're like, oh my God, you guys suck. You suck so hard, and I'm so glad you're failing. I don't care how much money you have in the bank. If you don't have members, you've got nothing.
Maybe not on the level as your evil ass self does. No, I'm just joking. No, but I am like, yeah, how could anybody join Scientology right now? Like, what kind of idiot would go into Scientology after the internet, all these shows, so many people talking about it, YouTube? It's like, it's really cool to see that, like, that it's really like almost impossible. Like, there has to be really extenuating circumstances for someone to go in there, and a whole other thing to maintain it. Like, how many people are in Scientology that are just pretending to play a part in it just because of their family?
Yep.
Like, I mean, that's got to be at least half of them.
It's got to be.
Who really just aren't into it anymore.
Yeah.
So that is really satisfying, and it's like, honestly, a huge change, like, from how it was when I was in there. So that's a big deal.
Just a genuine Jenny Stout says, love you, Jenna and Aaron. I appreciate all you're doing to bring down that cult. # families are forever. Thank you so much. I am betting you did not see the part of one of the streams I did with Reese where we stopped 3 women on the streets of Ybor City, and they had never had anything to do with Scientology. And as Reese was talking to them, she was explaining how she had learned anything about Scientology. And I'm not kidding you when I say she mentioned the ex-Scientology Kids website.
Oh, that's cool. The girl Reese was talking to?
Yes.
Oh, that's
Specifically,
cool. Yeah.
that was the website that, for those of you who don't know, because it's not like the website's been particularly active,
Yeah.
you and who are the 2 other women that started it with you?
Kendra and Astra.
Astra Woodcraft and
Yeah.
Kendra. I want to say it's not Wilkinson. Kendra, oh my God.
This is horrible. If we weren't doing a video, I
Oh my
would
God, you're in
remember.
so much trouble. Forget
Stop,
it.
you
are
freaking
in
brought it up.
so
This
much
is
trouble.
you knew that
It's not Kendra Wilkinson. What, Kendra? It's not Kendra Wiseman.
It is.
Oh, Kendra Wiseman. See,
Sorry,
Wilkinson was
Kendra.
close, you guys.
Kendra was the best. She actually created the whole site and, like, moderated all the forums on there where people who grew up in Scientology could talk about their experiences. So she's like,
What year did you start that website?
I think it was 2007. I'm not
That was
100%
even
sure.
before Mike's blog. That was even before Marty's blog. That was
Yeah.
before all of that.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I think Mike Rinder left Scientology in 2007.
Correct.
So I was already out of Scientology
Correct.
long
His
before.
blog didn't start till after 2009.
Yeah, and I was already speaking out by the time he left.
Right.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah, we would get a lot of hits on that site. I need to redo it, but it was like we would get so much.
How fun would it be to
traffic.
repurpose that site for something? Or not
I
even
know, I
repurpose
want
it, but
to.
just like re-energize it.
Yeah, I'm going to.
Yeah.
I'm going to, yeah.
Yeah.
I really, really want to. Yeah.
What are your thoughts on this idea of, like, should it be the job of former Scientologists to shut down Scientology, or should that be, or what does it even mean? And now what it means is probably for another video. But, like, do you think of that as something where the responsibility of that is on the shoulders of former members to shut them down, or is that just sort of a happy accident of all of us, telling our stories?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely don't think it's something that is like the responsibility of former members, especially as people who, like, literally grew up as martyrs for a cause, and there's, like, doing things for the greatest good. That's not something that is, like, doable, or that I'm going to be repeating, for a different cause.
Right.
Like, half of my life was dedicated to one cause that was supposed to be saving the world, and so I'm not going to redo that to take down that cause.
Yeah.
Not that that's not a worthwhile thing, and not that I'm not going to dedicate some of my time to that, but I'm not going to be repeating that in the same way.
Yeah.
I'm going to, but it is important to me. It is really important to me. It is half of my life. So it's something that I'm going to do what I can towards, but the real cause is, like, actually becoming free of it, actually living your life, actually healing from those things, actually being the person that it kind of took away from you, learning yourself, doing the things that you love. because that's the real like kind of antidote.
So like, but some people might say that because I do videos about it every single day, it's still controlling my life. And I think I would respond to that being like, no, that's a choice, baby. That's a choice.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
not controlling my life. And I don't feel like I do this because it's my job. I do this because I really want to.
Yeah, and I don't think that it is something that is controlling your life. It's
Yeah.
not something that it's like you have other things going on in your life. It's actually like, so I guess what I want to say is that it's something that is a part of my life, and it's amazing that like it's kind of something that you're inadvertently an expert on. So why not use these horrible freaking things that happen, or this organization that took advantage of you, and why not use that and make fucking gold out of it?
Yeah.
Like, use that and like don't let it bring you down. Don't let it like have all the effects on you that it wants to. Don't let it just take your family away. Use it to talk about something that you're passionate about. Use it to build an awesome life for yourself. Use it to have a community, and you've literally taken this organization that shat on you, and you've spun it into gold. That's what I try to do with many things that happened to me in Scientology. Like as a kid, we would like always were like digging ditches and doing irrigation, and like we did like 35 hours of manual labor a week. And so when I created my own business, I created a flower farm, and it was like, yeah, I'm gonna take these skills that I learned that were like really boring and like crappy to me as a kid, and I'm going to build something that is beautiful flowers and that make me happy every day and helps me bring beauty and joy to the world. And it's
I'm
kind
gonna
of
call
like
it Scientology alchemy. Instead of turning lead into gold, we turn shit into gold.
I'm not smart enough to know.
Alchemy is like this old idea that you could turn lead into gold, and they kept trying to figure out how to do it, but you can't
okay.
do it
Okay.
through some chemical process.
Yes, yeah. I like
Yeah.
it. I like what you said.
Scientology alchemy, turning shit into gold. All right, we gotta go meet Georgie and kill some bottomless mussels. We're gonna put this restaurant out of business, folks. Thank you for hanging out with us. Bye-bye.